Hello and welcome to Northside Now. This is the podcast where your three lovable hosts take you on a tour through all the ministries and the latest happenings around Northside Church to keep you better connected with your church family. I'm one of your hosts, Patrick, and with me as always are my two companions and co-hosts, the illustrious Glenn Miller and the enigmatic man of mystery, Kevin Bryant. What's going on, guys?
Howdy.
Welcome back, Cotter.
Thanks. Glad to be back. Oh, wait. No, you weren't talking to me.
Yeah.
So, how are things over there in the driver's seat, Patrick?
I wouldn't know.
Patrick was telling me getting ready for that wedding.
Yep.
So,
It's coming close.
Yep.
It's coming very close.
Are we down to counting hours yet?
Not quite that close. But yeah, I mean, I could. Let's see. No, math's not my strong suit.
Have you had scary dreams about it yet?
No. Okay. I told somebody this the other day. I said, we're ready for marriage.
Yes.
We're just not ready for the wedding.
Well, that's usually, my experience, that was the same here.
That's funny, though.
Yeah. It's going to be fun.
I never forget, we were, the guys before, it was super hot. It was June, same time. Similar weekend. And it was so hot, and this church didn't have air conditioning.
Oh, no.
But it was cool enough, but we were sort of outside and just goofing off, waiting for things to start. And we were playing Frisbee in our tuxedos and everything. And guess where the Frisbee went?
Up on the roof?
On the roof.
So of course y'all went after it, right?
We've got this picture of three of us just kind of scratching our heads and looking at the roof with the Frisbee, the green Frisbee up there. So those kinds of things make for good memories.
Are you throwing rice?
No.
Well, let me
Bird seed?
No.
Bubbles?
Because it'll kill the birds. You can't throw rice anymore.
Yeah.
Well, but some people do bird seed.
No, we're actually
Getting the
Fireworks, sparklers.
I don't know if this is a spoiler alert. We're not allowed to have fire out there.
That's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But we're gonna do dried rose petals.
Okay.
So
No roses were harmed in the...
a lot of roses were harmed in the making of the dried rose petals.
Well, the reason I ask is, wedding season and everything. Everybody's getting married. We got married on June 4th. Everybody at our wedding, I don't know if it's bird seed or rice. I think it was bird seed. Opened the bag. Tossed it in the air.
Of course.
Showering you. On our video, we're running to the car. All of a sudden, you see a bag come out of the corner, hit me square in the jaw, and my head, flips over like I took a punch from Mike Tyson. Somebody did not open their bag. They thought throw in the rice, literally throw the whole bag.
Let's be honest. I'd probably do the same thing.
I wanted to kill somebody.
That's just kind of funny.
I was like, who did that?
No, I thought you were going to say they threw all the bird seed out and then you slipped and slide. It's like ball bearings. It's like,
no.
Those are the things you don't really consider, I guess.
And there's no way to plan or not plan for those things.
Right.
And then they filled our car full of balloons.
Uh-huh.
So I guess we were really ecologically horrible at our wedding, but they filled so then your people are just pelting you more with the rice or the bird seed while you're waiting on that.
That brings up a memory I haven't thought of in a long time. So they, whoever decorated our car had, I don't know back in that time if it was marketed to be more, user friendly for, so if it was shoe polish or something, it just doesn't really come off very well. I remember we had to stop down the road because we couldn't see out of the windshield.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
They had put so much stuff there and, so I had to, spend, I can't even remember. It was longer than I wanted to at the gas station with the windshield cleaner trying to get all this stuff off. And yeah. Those little things you just don't.
Well, my only tip for the wedding is, and after make sure they make you some food to take with you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we've already got people on that.
Something. That didn't happen for us.
Starving.
We were starving. We were hunting down, like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning, hunting down a Subway or anywhere we could eat.
I'll be real upset if I don't get any of this food.
Well, because I'm telling you, during the reception, you're too busy. You just will
that's
not
totally
eat.
right.
And you just won't. You may have a little bit of something, but you're not going to truly eat, and you will be starving.
Yep.
And you'll be like, oh, there's nowhere to eat. So definitely make sure that now they have gotten better about that. I think people like me were like, what in the world? Give me some food, so.
No, we've got people assigned to getting us food.
That's great.
That's
great.
a good idea. Good idea.
Because you spend a lot of time making the day memorable, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then the little stuff is sometimes what falls through the cracks. You're like, I just didn't think about, this is kind of a lame one, but bringing other shoes to dance in.
Oh,
or, stuff like that. Yeah. That after the fact you realize that wasn't so smart. But
especially back if you're renting your shoes with your tux or something, because those are horrible.
Yes.
Goodness gracious.
See, I hadn't thought about that. I need some dancing shoes.
Dancing shoes. Get your dancing shoes. One thing about Patrick getting married is his soon-to-be mother-in-law has brought peaches to our house recently, and it felt like that scene from Forrest Gump.
Yep, that's the one.
Where Bubba and him are sitting there, scraping the floor, and he does all the different ways to fix shrimp. We've done that with peaches at our house, and I'm like, peach pie and peach ice cream.
Oh, my mom made a peach cobbler.
Peach cobbler, peach this, peach that. But they're really good. So the South Carolina peaches are good this year.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes. So I've had some of those as well. They are fantastic.
So yeah, those were good. But I did kind of relive that whole movie.
Yeah, the only way she's allowed to come visit is if she brings peaches. So
that's good.
That's your
she has to buy our affection. No, I'm just kidding. As a joke.
He better. He's
a disclaimer.
He's got to watch all that now, doesn't he?
I know. I got to be careful.
See, I have a great mother-in-law that I don't have to worry about that, and she knows if I say any good jokes, she would laugh at them. So. But I don't really do any mother-in-law jokes. Try to stay away from those.
Stay away from mother-in-laws?
Mother-in-law jokes.
Oh, okay.
You better learn to do the same now.
Right. Right. Be wise.
Why start now, right?
Well, goodness, we've had kind of a busy summer here with everything going on, and had a good Sunday with Pastor Don's final Sunday.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So he is... he's still official to the end of the month.
Yeah, to the end of the month.
On vacation, so we won't contact him for anything.
He's got to come back at least one time.
Yep. He's got to do a wedding, so that's good. But yeah, retired. And the youth got to go out to their house, and their pool was the last pool party we did with the youth. And with the first one we ever did at his house. What a great place, and what a fun pool party.
Yeah.
And I was telling the staff afterwards, Don always made chicken and dumplings and all that stuff for us. Mm-hmm. Well, we got robbed because the boy can make some really good hamburgers. Y'all, he had great hamburgers.
He knows his way around a grill too.
I know, it was great. I was like, you fed us chicken and dumplings all this time, and you could do hamburgers. I was really upset, but had a good time out there with them. So, but yeah, good Sunday in the last week or two, remembering their ministry here and just celebrate them, I thought.
Well, what I thought was really, I don't know the word, I wouldn't say exciting, but just memorable and uplifting and all of that the last couple of weeks is just not only the remembering for me and my memories of the Thrashers but is hearing everybody else.
Yeah.
I have had this thought off and on many times in my life, and maybe it's because I'm getting older, probably, but you start to consider at times, what is my impact? What has my impact been? And I know definitely it's getting older kind of thing, considering if you want to call it a legacy. I've heard folks talk about the LeBron James legacy, if he's close to his end of his career, we don't know, all those kinds of things as a basketball player, but what's your impact on the people around you?
Yeah. And
I don't know that I know that I don't live my life with that intent to say, I want somebody to say that I was so-and-so after I'm gone. That's not the way I operate or live my life. But I do reflect now and then. I think a couple weeks ago you had asked about kind of if you have refreshment times in the summer or things you do differently or whatever. And one of those is, am I fulfilling my purpose?
Oh yeah.
What am I doing? Or maybe not doing that I should be doing, to kind of live up to how God's created me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's an assessment of all your talents and strengths and skills and those kinds of things. And thinking about, okay, here's where I am, taking stock, here's where I am and here's what I'm doing. And is that what I want to do going forward? And I never really did that when I was younger, to my chagrin, because I think potentially the path could have led some other places. And I'm really appreciative of those people who are younger and get that, that they don't have to go into a certain track because they feel like they have to, that they sort of follow the beat of their own drum. Not necessarily that they're bohemian and just kind of go with the wind or, whatever, but they have this real sense that you should do something you're really passionate about. And I learned that a little bit later in life, but I do think about that when we have occasions where we have someone that's changing roles or not necessarily leaving us per se, quote unquote, but moving to a different stage or phase. And so that's been it's really been uplifting for me to hear all the stories and the folks that obviously have been impacted by their very public ministry, but also their private friendship and just the person-to-person humanness that that they've been able to share with others. And so that's been I think we obviously mourn it, right?
Sure.
But I think it's really been uplifting to say we've been super blessed, not only with the pastors and the pastor and the pastor's wife that will be leaving, but just with knowing these people.
Yeah.
And we should do that more often. I saw, we were gifted a long time ago, my folks, with a guidepost subscription.
Yeah.
Those are those little books that you put in the bathroom.
That's
right?
exactly right. Well, I was just going to say, it was this week, and I was reading the article on one of the most recent ones, and they talked about 21 ways to be positive. Oh. And I don't read a lot of self-help books or, here's what you need to do to be successful. And I've read Dale Carnegie and
you're not a big Tony Robbins fan.
No. But, some of those things, thinking about the things you're thankful for, naming 3 things you're grateful for every day helps you to not only just sit and be still and sort of decompress a little bit, but they intentionally plant ideas in your head that help guide you. And that's one thing I'm trying hard to do, is to be intentional with life and not just kind of react to what happens to me, to do things on purpose. And I think that'll keep me more focused about using my passion and those kinds of things. I don't know what you guys think about that, but that was what I reflected on these last couple of weeks.
That's cool. We, several years ago here at Northside, we did a little black book. That's what we called it, right? And it asked 4 questions like, what are we doing now that we don't need to do? What are we doing now that we need to keep doing?
Yeah.
What are we not doing that we need to do? And what are we not doing that we don't need to do or something?
I got lost.
So I can't remember what the 4th one was, but it's basically the same exact thing that you just said.
Right.
And doing that, we did that for the entire church, the whole body. And it was interesting. We had some interesting things come out of that. And I think when you do that for yourself, especially, you need to have that time of rest, relaxation, evaluation, and then moving on and follow up. You need that follow up too. So all that's important. I think that's cool.
One of the things we talked about before we got in here today was first impressions. So we talked about that a lot. We talked about barbecue first, how we connect with new people. But I'd be curious to know, for a new person who maybe is listening to the podcast for the first time or is just fairly new to Northside Church and trying to get connected and those kinds of things. What are some of those ways to do that? But also, what's your impression of Northside Church?
Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting because, maybe you're listening to this and you don't know where we are or where we're at or what door to even go into.
That was one of the things I said is my biggest issue when you drive in, it's like, which one's the front door? If you've never been here before, which door do you go into?
Yeah, I say the one right, the facing Highland.
Facing Highland, closest to the sign.
Right. The parking lot door.
Yeah.
Right.
That's typically, I think, what we all consider to be the front door. I think the official front door of the church is not that one, but that's it. Come into the door that's closest to where you park.
Right.
And if it's glass, come in the glass door it's closest to where you park, and you'll be good. On the north side of the building, that's the thing. The church actually faces east, so the north side would be when you pull into the parking lot. It'll be on your right.
Okay.
If you go down about halfway, you'll see a big building kind of back there. That's funny. Northside, when you see it from the street, is a lot larger than it appears.
Because it goes back far.
Yeah. And then, you see a big turnaround drive. That's the entrance to Hope Hall.
Yeah.
Unless you go all the way to the back. And then there's another entrance to Hope Hall. But most people say the Hope Hall entrance is the circle drive, which is really cool.
The circle drive, yeah.
Because we have a planner out there, and people really work hard to keep that looking nice.
Yeah, it looks nice.
And stuff. But when you come in, we see coffee bars and, folks that are there to meet you at the door and stuff. So hopefully your first impression is those people. I hope now if you come in during the middle of a service, I guess, but we always have people in the hallway,
right,
they're staged there.
Yeah, we've got greeters at the doors and stuff.
Yeah, and they stay out there.
Well, I would hope that one of the impressions of Northside is that it's a welcoming and friendly place.
Mm-hmm.
You and I were talking, Glenn, about the worst possible impression would be you walk in a place and nobody talks to you.
Yeah, that'd be horrible.
And I've been in churches.
Or it'd be worse if you walk in and not only do they not talk to you, but everybody turns and stares.
Yeah.
Yes. That's a totally different thing.
That's what I do. Whenever I see somebody that I don't recognize, I just stare at them.
Like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
I've gone to some pretty large churches, and it one big first impression, whoa, that's big.
Yeah.
Like, wow, they have TVs, and
this is a lot of people.
I don't even know where the worship service is going to be.
Yeah.
And there's a full-on coffee shop there.
It's like a Starbucks out in the lobby.
That.
Yeah.
And in one way, that's cool. It's impressive, But if that's all there is, and nobody talks to you, or it feels like it's an airport or something.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good way to put
it. It's very impersonal.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's, my experience has been that it's not like that in Northside, that there are people that are genuinely not only skilled and, but called to be that connector, to be a first impression person, to not only to say, how can I help you get where you want to get, but just to engage in conversation, just to be friendly and welcoming. There's so many hurdles, I think, especially for new believers, for them to get over.
Yeah.
Before they start to get the real message.
Yeah. Yeah.
That it takes people that really are good at that to help them feel at least at home or comfortable.
Yeah.
And that's super important.
One of the things I do the liturgist part in the services quite often, and more at the 9 than I do the other 2. And because of COVID and stuff, the thing that a lot of people talked to me the most about was missing our greeting time.
Right.
Which for some people could even be a little intimidating, to have people come over and say hi to you and shake your hand or give you a fist bump now. Or, for COVID, we just turned and waved at each other. But people really grieve that. And so I think when you think of a congregation that enjoys getting together with other humans, that's one of the reasons that this church is who it is because they enjoy being with you.
Right.
And the fun thing about that too is it doesn't really matter who you are. It's just, you're here.
Mm-hmm.
I want to come say hi to you.
Right.
Now I know there have been people that come to this church, over its entire span of life that have not been talked to or been looked at funny, or they sat in the wrong pew at some point and somebody said something to them. Or I'm sure that has happened because it's humans and it's going to happen somewhere, and not everybody will always have the perfect thing. But I think
that's why I started helping in the sound booth, so that I always had a reserved seat back there.
But I think most everybody really does have a great experience, at least in their visitation here. And in the building is fairly easy and comfortable to move around in. Mm-hmm. And there's people at welcome desks and coffee bars and standing around that can help you if you want to go to a Sunday school class or get your children to the nursery. And, There's great little flyers and those kinds of things around about different ministries and events and things that are coming up.
Yeah, right there in the narthex is the information desk. It's got
and there's people there that
people there.
And
Right.
So I feel like we do a good job about that, and that's, the bathrooms are clearly marked, which is always
and
really
they're clean
helpful.
most of the time.
Yeah, they are. They are. Occasionally there's that kid that goes in there and pulls all the toilet paper off the roll
Decides
and
to do some
decorating
wall art.
So, oh goodness. But
Well,
but
that is a really good point. I think that I've considered this in other sort of walks of life, but in other roles in the church, whether it be a particular committee involved in getting the word out or sharing or whatever. But remembering, I think it's good for all of us. At least it's a good reminder for me to remember that so many walks of life walk through these doors.
Oh yeah.
Different backgrounds, different parts of the country, different parts of the world. And we're not all the same. And that's one of the beauties of God's creation, is that we all are very different, but we all can be united by one singular thing. And that's where Jesus comes into the picture. But if we try and treat everybody as if they're the same as us, that can be challenging, especially for on the other side of the perception spectrum. If I'm an unbeliever, but somebody invited me to church, that first impression could be, it's not necessarily make or break, but it could make a big difference.
Yeah.
If it's a poor impression.
Yeah.
And we have, and this is not necessarily putting undue pressure on us necessarily, but I think I at least take it seriously in that everything I do can be a witness, or it can be a detraction, or, it can be a positive or a negative. And so I'm conscious of how I behave.
Well, we're called not to be stumbling blocks for anybody.
Absolutely.
That's true.
Absolutely. And if we consider the mission of Christ, going out and making disciples seriously, then I think we need to consider seriously our own actions, and how that comes across to other people.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying we, are fake or superficial or falsely welcoming, like sugar sweet. Hey, how are you? Some people have a gift of being able to do that.
Definitely.
And it even can be like the way you introduce yourself.
Yeah. It's like, oh, hey, are you new here?
That's right. No, I've been here for 20 years.
Oh, my bad.
So it's understanding that, especially as the church gets bigger, if in a couple of weeks we're going to be talking to a pastor of a larger church, happens to be my brother. I'm excited about that. But one of the questions I want to ask is, as you get blessed with more folks coming in the doors of your church, how do you maintain that connection and that community? And I think one of the things is being intentional about how you speak to other people.
Yeah.
And understanding that you may not know them, but they might have been here for a long time. So in how you talk to them, how do you
so instead of saying, hey, are you new here? Say, hey, I don't think we've met yet.
Right.
There you go. Just
right. And so it's those kinds of things that I think I have found myself over the many years of my discipleship and following Christ, falling sort of into, I don't know if it, like a rut or a trap of getting comfortable and thinking I'm doing all I need to do. And, it seems okay. Everything, the boat's not rocking and everything's fine. But when I really start to think about it, I think, well, you know what? I'm doing some things that might not be helpful, or I'm not challenging myself to step out of my comfort zone, various different things. So like we said before, reflection and redirection, but that can apply to everything. And I think it's a super opportunity for us as a church and a body of people to see how we challenge ourselves to be even more welcoming and more of a light on a hill, or city on a hill, to anybody who comes through the doors. Because if we, and I know many people pray, and we all should to some extent pray for new people to come join our family.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think we prepare ourselves to be ready. So I think that I was just considering as we've talked about change all these many weeks with, and then also with the Thrashers and transition and all that, it's a good time to reflect on how can we up our game
Yeah, definitely.
in the welcoming department and the, that kind of part of our church.
And this church takes it so seriously that even once you're here, we have a pastor whose main goal is assimilation.
For sure.
Helping you find your place, helping you find your small group, helping you find your place of passion, your spiritual gift and what you're strong in, and helping you, stay away from the things that are not your spiritual gifts or your
Right.
strong points. But you may want to plant there just because it seems easy. So that's a good thing to do. And not only, we have all the little things taken care of, like signs and people in place, and then someone to help you walk, and, other staff to do that, and pastors do that. Patrick, you've laid us out now a pretty good website that before you even step foot here, you can have some working knowledge of these things.
Yeah, that's the goal. That's what I'm working on it because even that's the first step for a lot of people before they ever even consider going to a church. They'll Google it and
Right.
they'll look at it. And if you don't have a decent representation of who you are as a church online for people to see, that could be a stumbling block for people not to show up. And so I'm trying to, because it also needs to be the place where people can go and be the hangout spot for the congregation when they're not physically in the building.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a goal during COVID, was to kind of get that up to where it needs to be so that you can go and find out what's going on, what you need to know, where you want to plug in, all that kind of stuff.
Well, I know several people that are in the car sales world.
Yep.
And actually dabbled with that just a little bit myself when I was younger, just for fun. And one major thing changed car sales.
What's that?
Those awesome commercials. We got to make a commercial.
The wavy
guys.
person.
And not the gorilla on the building.
The wacky, wavy, inflatable, flailing arm
Or the
tube.
balloons on the antennas. It was the internet, because I can look at everything I want, the
Right.
color I want, and I can tell you the price. And I come in and say, I want this car for this price. And because you put it out there, you really don't have anything to. Before, you could play, all day. You could play the car buying game.
Right.
Well, the internet's done the same thing for churches. You can tell us who you are, how much it costs, and all of the things involved with it long before I get to your building. You're going to tell me who you are by your website, by what you have on the internet. So I mean, it's important that we have that looking good and usable, and like you said, evaluated and doing the same things we do, because there's going to be people who stay virtual as our church, and
Right.
we don't want to think that you have to be here to be on campus to be a part of this body. So we want our virtual home in place to be just as well thought out and put together as our actual 2571 address. And
Yeah. And as a staff, we've all been trying to, we're still working on other ways to implement the virtual side of things into keeping everybody connected.
Yeah.
We've got some other things down the pipeline that we're working on. So
yeah, good stuff. Well, welcome to Northside. We cannot wait till you are here, or contacting us on our socials or our sites, or listening to us on our podcast, or whatever it is. However you're connected, we are glad that you were here. Welcome.
Yeah, I was going to actually just remind folks that if you're listening to this, maybe it's, who knows when it is, maybe you're in the car, maybe it's you're on the computer,
maybe you're on the toilet.
who knows where you
Possible.
may be riding your lawnmower, mowing,
Yeah.
you never
Maybe
know.
you're hang gliding. Maybe you're,
If
you're
that's
hang gliding and podcasting, please call in. We need to talk.
I was going to say, if
I
that's the
wanna chat
case,
with
we
you.
definitely want to hear from
I
you.
want to see you.
spelunking or,
But yeah, just get in touch with us, either direct message us or contact us via socials. We'd love to hear from you. And if you have an idea for a future podcast, a topic that we could cover and talk about, we could pretty much talk about anything between the three of us. But we'd love to hear. We've in this last year plus, we've done some really, really nice, very interesting for me topics. And we really try and talk about real life things from a Christian perspective, and that's what our purpose is here. So if maybe you're in Alaska, Maybe you're in Antarctica. Wouldn't that be awesome if we heard from somebody down there? But
let me know what time it is down there.
that's right.
He's so worried about that.
Whoever you are,
It keeps
wherever
me
you
up
are.
at night.
So anyway, yeah, we encourage you to reach out to us and be interactive, and we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah. You can hit us up on our Instagram. It's Northside Now Podcast, or you can email us at podcast@northsidejackson.com.
Yeah, definitely hook us up. We would love to chat, and I know you would love to see what our faces look like as they go with our voices.
Yeah.
So, Patrick, we've been telling them about us, but is there anything for them to do once they get here in the next few moments, weeks, whatever?
For sure. Always. There's always stuff going on. I mean, at the least, we've got our Sundays and Wednesdays.
Yeah.
Well, except for we will have no Wednesday night connection on July 7th or 14th. So don't come on those Wednesday nights.
Yeah.
But generally, we've at least got Sunday or Wednesday going.
And
So,
then there's something pretty exciting going on that week of the 14th.
yeah, well, starting July 12th, whatever that Monday is. Yeah, the 12th. That's VBS. So we're going to have a whole bunch of kiddos running around.
Kiddos and adults.
Yeah. Or riding horses.
I bet it's the loudest VBS we've ever had. We've had some loud ones, but it's because of all the shaking armor that's going to be here.
Yeah, it's a medieval theme. So we're going to have knights and castles and dragons and kings and all sorts of fun stuff.
Turkey legs.
Basically a Renaissance fair. Yeah, that's my excuse for just walking around with a turkey leg that whole week.
I may have to.
I'm going to have to put
I
together
may have to smoke up a couple of turkeys, and we'll just walk around some turkey legs.
Please.
That would be amazing.
That'd be a good photo op. We could put that on.
There we
I
go.
like that.
What if they could do turkey legs for a snack one day?
Ooh.
I just imagine this like 6-year-old running down the hall with a turkey leg.
That'd be
As
awesome.
big as he is.
So, well, good. Well, I am looking forward to that. That'll be fun.
Yeah. Well, guys, thanks for podcasting with me today.
You betcha.
It was fun. And we hope to see you at Northside soon.
Yeah. And thanks to all of you who are listening for joining us this week on Northside Now. Make sure to visit our website, northsidejackson.com. Check us out on Instagram, Northside Now Podcast, and shoot us an email to podcast@northsidejackson. We'd love to hear from you. Also, make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button. And while you're at it, if you find this show to be informative or entertaining, consider rating us on your platform of choice. Or if you'd simply just tell a friend about the show, that would help us out greatly too. We'd appreciate that. So once again, this is Patrick.
This is Glenn.
And I'm Kevin.
And that's what's happening at Northside Now.
Bye-bye.